Hey everybody, and welcome to or back to my channel, My Kind of Stuff. And today is episode 8 of TBR Takedown. If you're new to the channel and don't know what TBR Takedown is, I try to do one episode every month where I spin a random number generator wheel, whatever number it gives us. We take that to a spreadsheet that I have of all of the physical books that I own that I have not read yet, and whatever the wheel picks, that's what book we read. Obviously, if it is a series and I'm not to that book in the series of whatever number it picks, we just read the next in the series. I'm not going to read out of order. I will also make sure that I link the TBR Takedown playlist down below if you want to check out episodes 1 through 7. But that being said, let's hop into our first spin and see what our first book is. Okay, so this is my spreadsheet of all of the series I am actively reading. I also have it checked off where I can get the audiobook if I need it. Right now we are down to 119 books, which is actually really, really good considering I think I was at 137 or something last episode. So I've done a really good job in the past month knocking out a bunch of books that I already physically own and trying to be more intentional about the new ones that I buy. So let's go back to the top and go to our spinner wheels. All right, so we have our spinner wheel set 1 through 119. I shuffled up the numbers, so let's get into our first spin. Number 4. Okay, let's remove that as a choice and see what book number 4 is. Ooh, okay. All the Parts of the Soul by Catherine Burns. This is one of the books I got from Twisted Retreat book box, and it is a super pretty special edition. So I'm excited to check this one out. All right, let's do roll number 2. I keep saying roll. I do this every episode. I've not learned that it's spin yet. Dice on the brain. Ooh, number 98. All right. So if we scroll down, number 98. Oh. Rise of Endymion by Dan Simons. So this is book 3 in the Hyperion Cantos series. I absolutely loved book 1. Book 2 really disappointed me. So I don't know how excited I am really to be reading the next one, but that's all right. We need to read down our physical shelf, so it is what it is. All right, let's see what our third and final spin gets us. Number 8, back to the top. All right. Oh, we scroll all the way back up. Oh, okay. Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. I actually got this one from Book of the Month, and I got it a month early before the release date, and I've still not read it. So it is a new release from this year at least. So glad to be getting to it. The cover is absolutely gorgeous. All right, so just to recap our spins real quick. First up, we got All the Parts of the Soul by Catherine Burns. This is my Twisted Retreat edition. It's really pretty. All right, so this one is a historical fiction that mixes horror, fantasy. I think Obviously got gothic vibes, witchcraft. So it says the year is 1545. Geneva has defeated the Catholic forces of the Duke of Savoy and established itself as the center of the Reformation, with John Calvin as its spiritual leader. But peace is fragile. And in a city ravaged by plague, the atmosphere is one of fear and suspicion. So when new rumors of witchcraft emerge from a nearby isolated village, Calvin sees opportunity and plucks a reclusive young magistrate to investigate. Henry was orphaned by plague at the age of 12, and since then he's lived alone, consumed by fear and the temptations he finds in the margins of his book collection. Now, for the first time, he is forced to confront the possibility of society, friendship, and even love. Local healer Louise is kind and beautiful, but skirts dangerously close to the fringes of his investigation. Can he escape the horrific task he has been set? And is it too late to save a soul that has too long been turned in on itself? So this sounds like maybe there's some sort of like possession possibly involved as well. I don't know. I'm interested. I don't know how much I'm going to love it. Historical horror doesn't always work for me, but I'm still interested to check it out. And it's super short, so I can knock this out probably in like an afternoon. Um, so yeah, excited to get into this one. All right, roll two actually got us The Rise of Endymion. That's actually book 4 in the series. The first one, or the third one, I guess, is Endymion. So we're going to be reading that obviously first. So book 3 in the Hyperion Canto series by Dan Simon. Again, I really love the first book, Hyperion, but then I read The Fall of Hyperion and was really pretty disappointed in it. So I don't really know what to expect here. But I'm still willing to give it a go just for how much I absolutely loved the first book in the series. So this says 274 years after the fall of the World Web in Fall of Hyperion, Raoul Endymion is sent on a quest. Retrieving Anaya from the Sphinx before the church troops reach her is only the beginning. With the help from a blue-skinned android named A. Betic, Raoul and Anaya travel the river pursued by Father Captain Federico de Soyo, an influential war priest, and his troops. The Shrike continue to make enigmatic appearances, and while many questions were raised in Hyperion and Fall of Hyperion, still more are raised here. Raoul's quest will continue. Yeah, so these have all kind of been a travel type story, which don't always work for me. I think book 1 worked so well because though they were traveling, they were all just like on a ship getting to their destination. So there wasn't like a lot of roaming around and that kind of stuff. They were all just in one place well on their way. And then book 2, they finally got there and kind of were all off doing their own things. So I don't know. I'm interested to see where this one goes and kind of continue on with the series. There's only one more book after this, so yeah, we'll see how we rate the series as a whole when we finished it. And then our third spin got us Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. I just absolutely love this cover. It's so gorgeous. It says it's a gripping and deliciously dark thriller about marriage and revenge. So author Grady Green is having the worst, best day of his life. Grady calls his wife to share some exciting news as she's driving home. He hears Abby slam on the brakes, get out of the car, then nothing. When he eventually finds her car by the cliff edge, the headlights are on, the driver door is open, and her phone is still there, but his wife has disappeared. A year later, Grady is still overcome with grief and desperate to know what happened to Abby. He can't sleep and he can't write, so he travels to a tiny Scottish island to try to get his life back on track. Then he sees the impossible, a woman who looks exactly like his missing wife. And then it's got a little blurb that says, wives think their husbands will change, but they don't. Husbands think their wives won't change, but they do. This sounds kind of exciting. I love a good like thriller mystery. This sounds like it's going to be really suspenseful, and I love a Scottish or Irish setting. So, yeah, really excited to dive into this one and see what it's about. All right, so these are the three books we will be reading for this month's episode of TBR Takedown. I will check back in with you guys after we have finished our first one and kind of talk about it. All right, so back with an update, not necessarily a great update. I started reading Endymion. I DNF'd this at about 20% in, which was, I don't know, a little over 100 pages. Um, I just don't care. I was so disappointed by book 2 that I think I'm just mentally checked out now, and I I don't care at all. So I'm gonna DNF this series. So we're gonna be taking this book and the final book in the series off the tracker. Um, yeah. Oh well. It's really unfortunate considering how much I loved book 1, which is Hyperion. But yeah, these just keep getting worse and worse as we go. Normally, I feel like a series, I start out not loving the first book because it's explaining the world and you're getting into it. And each book, the world keeps like growing and expanding, and you introduce new characters. And like, well, that's slightly true. We did meet some new characters, and the world's definitely expanding and growing. It's just not growing in a way that I care about. We're not following characters that I cared about. Um, so I think I'm just mentally kind of checked out of it. And yeah, so after this disappointment, I did end up instead picking up Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars. I did really enjoy it. But for some reason, the first like half of the book while I was reading it, I kept getting senses of like deja vu. Like I've read this story before. I've read something very similar to this before. Um, and I was a little bit bored by the halfway point. Twist started going directions that I wasn't seeing necessarily coming, and things started taking a different turn, and it didn't feel anymore like something, I don't know, rinse repeated from other books. So I did like it a lot more towards the end, so that's why it got 3.5 stars for me. Had the beginning been a little bit more, I guess, original in its story or plot, I probably would have liked this one a whole lot more. I really enjoyed Alice Feeney's writing. This is the first book that I've read by this author, and I definitely think I'll pick up some more now. Um, because there was a lot about this that I really did enjoy. And I think for, a domestic, small town-ish kind of thriller, it was really well done. I did enjoy it quite a bit. I just wish that that beginning half of the book didn't feel like something I'd already read before. Um, so yeah, overall, I think this one was pretty solid. I'm excited to have a new author to try, especially when she has new book releases and stuff. I'm sure that I'll grab them. I don't own any of her other books, but I will probably at least check them out from the library, and try a few more because, again, I did really like the writing. So, that being said, we only have one more book left to read for this episode, and that is All the Parts of the Soul by Catherine Ferns, I believe it was. Actually, the book's over there on that shelf. I don't have it with me, but here's to hoping that I really enjoy this one. Otherwise, I guess this episode's going to be kind of a flop. But that book is really short, so I feel like I'll probably be able to finish it in a couple hours. I'll probably read that one tomorrow and check back in with you guys. All right, guys, I have finished up the third book for this episode, the final book, and that is All the Parts of the Soul by Catherine Ferns. Um, yeah, this one was another no for me. Um, the way women were portrayed in this just gave me the ick. I realized that, like, this was a very different time, right? Like, I think this takes place in 1545, okay? So, yes, I get it. This is a very different time. Um, Witchcraft is a big factor in this book, and all of the women with like any sort of sexual desires are portrayed as witches, and all the men in this book are just kind of terrible to them. And I don't know, overall I just was like cringing the entire time reading it. So yeah, another hard pass for me. If you can get over the way women are portrayed, this would probably be a really interesting book. And again, I understand it was takes place at a very different time in life, right? But I don't know, as being something written by a woman, just some of the ways women were described just was really off-putting to me, and I did not like it at all. Um, so yeah, that is it for this episode. I really wish it would have gone better. We had a DNF, another book that I gave 1 star, and a book that I gave 3.5 stars. So unfortunately, this didn't go that well, but it is 3 more books off of my physical TBR, which is always a good thing. I guess actually 4 more books off of my physical TBR because I'm DNFing the rest of the Hyperion Cantos series. So yeah, I guess overall that part is a win. Always good when we can knock things off of my physical backlog. Because I would really like to get it to under 100 this year. We're getting there. I've been not great about not buying things recently. I was doing good for a while. I was being very intentional with my book buying, and I've gotten a little out of control the past couple months. So we need to rein that back in. But I have been reading a lot of what I've been buying pretty quickly, though, so I guess at least that's a good thing. Like, I'm not buying them and just letting them hang around on a shelf like all of my other books. But yeah, so we need to check ourselves again. Let me know down in the comments below if you've read any of these books, what you thought about them. And yeah, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future content. Give the video a thumbs up on your way out, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.